I'm Daniel Brock. I'm the owner of Coast is Clear Properties, and I'm the contractor that performed the restoration project here on the Grayton House. The people of Grayton Beach really appreciate the history and the heritage. They want to keep it alive. We wanted to keep it alive. It would have been much cheaper had we not, but man, it's priceless to keep all the history, all the heritage of this house, to bring Grayton Beach, the life of Grayton, back into a home like this. And this home almost becomes somewhat of a museum, not just for the home itself, but for Grayton Beach as well. So the history of the house is very important to us. The main reason is because Grayton Beach has such deep history, and it's being lost every day. Not just Grayton Beach, but all along the coastline. You see houses that are being torn down, but when you have a house that's 127 years old, as the Grayton House is, you don't want to lose that. So the house is constructed in 1895 by R.E.L. McCaskill Lumber Company. That's just a few years after Grayton Beach is established as Grayton Beach. Well, as the lumber mill moved away, the house just became the local inn. And so as it's being used as the local inn in the 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, it's told that Al Capone's guys would come down. There's stories and tales of them running liquor off the beach by boat from Pensacola Beach down to here. And so the house has this documented history. It has stories that are somewhat documented, and then it just has tales. But that Capone's guys came down during the 20s and stayed in the house, that's a pretty cool story that the house gets to hold. You know, the house got the nickname Washaway from 1926 when it literally was lifted by storm waters, washed down almost to Western Lake. The locals put it on logs, hooked mules to it with ropes, pulled it back into place. We thought, we've got to mark this, because this will be something that'll disappear if we don't tell this story. So around the living room, we chose this chair rail that has this wavy line. And the wavy line tells the unseen story that nobody knew was there. A lot of these stories, we knew that they were there because they've been written in articles, but nobody knew that the floodwaters came up nearly 38 inches inside the wall, and sand was nearly 30 inches high inside the wall from the hurricanes in the past that the house had endured. So one of the most interesting stories about the house is in 1935, the Wickersham family had purchased the home. They actually purchased it before that, but in 1935, the 4 children inherited the home from their father. They went through an extensive remodel. And just as they finished the remodel, World War II breaks loose. And not long after that, the U.S. government comes and commandeers the home from the owners. So the Wickersham family had to go to Point Washington, which is 6 or 7 miles north of here, and use a different home, while 40 men from the Coast Guard stayed right here in the house. So these 40 guys would go out on the beach on horseback, ride up and down the beach looking for U-boat submarines. They're bringing the photo reel from the aircraft aerial shots, and they're bringing them under the staircase in the house and developing the photos in a makeshift darkroom. So that 3-year span, I'm sure, had to be really intense. The owners had put so much money into the house, so much effort. The owner's son himself went to Pensacola and got stones together to build the fireplace. And so they had so much invested in this home to see the Coast Guard come in. Thankfully, the Coast Guard leaves the house in as good a condition, if not better, than when they took it in. And so the family was very grateful that they were able to use the house, to help the nation. So it's a story that ended well. So a few of the things that I think people would never realize when they just view the home at a distance is you would never know that this house sitting up on the pilings like it is now, once set close to the ground. You know, in 1895, you didn't put houses up on pilings 12 feet above sea level like you do now. So for years, literally since 1996, people have been passing by this house thinking that it was maybe a 1970s home, until we got our hands on it, did the restoration that we've done, and bring all that heritage back into the house. So I think a lot of people will be shocked to know the depth of history that the Grayton House has to actually Grayton Beach.